sometimes you visualize a glass of water appearing. See? So, anyway, first in this morning's talk, samatha and vipassana. Don't get too serious. So, samatha and vipassana. There's many little stories, but my story about samatha and vipassana of this couple, Sam Atta and his partner Vipassana. And Sam and Vi lived in a beautiful little house somewhere in PJ. And they had 2 dogs. They had one dog, was called Metta. She was a lovely dog, always very kind, never barked at anybody, but full of loving kindness. And the other dog was a male dog called Anapana. You know, Anapanasati, breath meditation. Anapana means breath, or along with the breath. So they lived very happily in their house, and one day after lunch, they decided to go for a walk up Meditation Mountain. And Sam went up Meditation Mountain because the higher you get on Meditation Mountain, the more peaceful it is, the more calm. And the higher you get, it's just so silent, it's really gorgeous up there. Vi, his wife, she liked the peace and quiet too, but she went up there because she was a professional photographer. She brought her camera up there, not these little iPhones, but a professional $2,000 Canon with different lenses in there. And she went up there because she wanted to take some inside views, because when you get up Meditation Mountain, you can see so far in all directions. And so Sam and Vi went up there. Vi went up there for the view. Sam went up there for the peace. And what did Metta the dog go up there for? Metta is just so simple, just goes up there for fun. You know, it doesn't have all this philosophy and stuff, just goes up there for joy. And Anapana, he went up because everyone else was going up there. So up they went, up Meditation Mountain. And when they got even halfway up, they paused. And wow, it was so calm and still. Even halfway up Meditation Mountain, Sam was, this is so wonderful, so peaceful, so still. But he could also see the view. Vi, click, click. There's amazing shots there. Insights, understandings you can only get when you're high up and see all over everything. See how everything fits together. It's amazing the shots she was getting up the top there, or halfway up. But she also appreciated the silence. So she paused many times between her insights to enjoy the usual incredible peace. Metta the dog. You ever seen a dog who's really happy? Wagging its tail, running around, but it wouldn't bark because it didn't want to disturb it. It also enjoyed the silence. And it also liked to look at the view. And as for Anapana, the dog, the breath, she was fading away, disappearing. And when they got to the top of Meditation Mountain, Anapana, that dog, had totally vanished. He'd gone. No trace to be seen up there. Later when they went down again, it would reappear. But on the top of Samadhi Mountain, the breath stops and vanishes. Metta the dog, wow! You've never seen a dog so happy, so blissed out, in ecstasy. The dog was just smiling until it was almost splitting its face from ear to ear. and its tail was wagging so fast. It was like a propeller going round and round and round, like on this firefly. And the what's her name? Vipassana, wow, that was award-winning photography up there. She got all these prizes up there for the insight she got up there. She may get the Sotapanna prize, or the punch returner, no returner, hour prize. Amazing insights up there. And as for Sam, nothing moved up there. It was so still. But he could also experience the view and the happiness. Same as Sam. As someone said Vipassana, she could also pause every now and again and just so incredibly still, was so happy. Tears were coming down her eyes with joy. Because when you have lots of pity, lots of joy and happiness, tears come down. So any of you who said, "Whoa, I'm crying, what's that for?" There's either two reasons. Either you're very hungry and you can smell the food back there. But more than likely, it is because you've got so much joy, so much powerful happiness in there. It does bring tears to your eyes. And she could also experience the peace as well. Because on the top of Meditation Mountain, it does not really matter why you go up there, whether it's for insight, or for stillness, or for joy, love, real powerful metta. Doesn't matter why you go up there, because all those things exist together on top of Meditation Mountain. Insight, stillness, and metta, like you've never had before. That's one of the reasons why. I've given this secret away already, but if you go up Meditation Mountain, if you get into deep meditation, you may come out after and say, "Oh, it's so peaceful, so still," and say all these wonderful insights I've now really understood. So the nature of reality, and say all this philosophical stuff. But what really always happens on top of Meditation Mountain, if you do have peace and you do have insight, the smile, the happiness, that is there as well. So if you come to me and say, "Ajahn Brahm, I just attained the fourth jhana, and I am now a non-returner," I say, "It's very good you're a non-returner, so get out and don't come back again." You're expelled from the retreat. No, because there's a joy there, the happiness there, which is really important. So that is a way of understanding just what sort of the relationship between Vipassana and Samatha are. They are the same. And I know that sometimes that people say, "Oh, well, Samatha is Anapanasati, Vipassana is Satipatthana." And you only have to have a quick look, a quick peek in the suttas. In the Anapanasati Sutta, number 118. It's got an 8 on the end, so it must be good. And there it says that anyone who practices Anapanasati at the same time also practices the Satipatthana, the 4 Satipatthana. You do one, you do the other. They are same. Sama. So you can focus on Satipatthana, that's fine, do Satipatthana retreat. But whether you like it or not, you're doing Anapana, you're doing sort of Samatha also. You may do, I'm a Samatha practitioner. You're going to be doing Anapana. You're going to be doing sort of Satipatthana as well. And also you're doing, let's try metta. That's also the same. So that's one of the reasons why when people come up and they say, "Please teach me some meditation," So I usually the easiest one, anapanasati, mindfulness. If they can't do that, they find difficulty doing anapanasati, then I tell them to practice mindfulness of the breath. Oh, very good, yes, I'll do mindfulness of the breath. When they can't do mindfulness of the breath, satipatthana, do satipatthana. If they can't do satipatthana, I teach them to do vipassana. If they can't do vipassana, I teach them to do loving kindness. If they can't do loving kindness, they find difficulty, I give them metta meditation. If they can't do metta meditation, I teach them letting go meditation. If they can't do letting go, then I teach them anapanasati. By which time they didn't realize that's where they started from. Different words for the same practice. So what is that practice in brief? This is your body and mind. You let it go. Give up grasping. Stop attaching. Stop being a control freak. Put it down. Leave it alone. Just abandon. Just make peace with things. Be kind. Be gentle. And then, wow, it's still peaceful. And when it's very peaceful and still, you know that sometimes I go to these retreats and there's usually a TV in the room. And they asked me once, Ajahn Brahm, do you look at the TV? And I said, yes. I said, I go really close. Looking at TV is very profound, very deep. So I go close to the TV, but I don't turn it on. And if I go very close, I can see a reflection of my face in the TV. I can see who I am, but only when the TV is not turned on. I don't know if that works these days with these, the old TVs, like they were like a glass screen. They were really got to go right up close and see, wow, you see, I'm on TV today. See a reflection. But all those different types of meditation, basically just let go. And when you let go and see things as they really are, like the old simile, which I thought, I don't know where I heard it, but when I was in Korea recently, I think I mentioned to a few of you, but I don't know on this retreat. But that was like the first day, when I told in October when I went to the demilitarized zone in Korea. Then I was in the BGF talk, I think. Was it? But anyway, that, you know, being a Buddhist monk, teaching retreats, yeah, been there, done that. Going to conferences, yeah, been there, done that. So a lot of times when you get so many invitations, so sometimes every now and again there's an invitation stands out. Like that was a 2015 World Computer Congress in Daejeon. That stood out because I thought, wow, this is really good. I'm supposed to give the keynote address there, which means the first address after the president welcomes everybody to set the theme of the conference. And I don't know anything about computers. So I thought it was really cool. I can go up there and give the keynote address at the World Computer Congress. And you know what happened? When I got there, they said, well, you know, what are you doing here? You know, who are you? You know, what do you know about computers? I said, nothing. And I was giving the keynote address to all these really important people coming in from Europe, security experts for the EU. I remember talking to that guy. And all these other sort of hotshots, all these other nerds. And so when I got up, I had to really explain what I'm doing there. And that was where I gave the little simile of the, the St. Louis World's Fair. I think I might have mentioned that somewhere recently. It must have been in Penang. In the St. Louis World's Fair in 1920-something, it just happened by chance that the food stalls, different stalls selling food for all the visitors, and there was the ice cream stall selling ice cream, and right next to it was a stall selling waffles. And the two guys selling these things, they became friends over many, many days. chatting to people in the moments when there was not so many people buying their food. And then they decided to collaborate. Two different types of food coming together. Synergy. Two things which have never come together before in history. Ice cream and waffles. And you know what that made? The ice cream cone. That's where the ice cream cone came from. A ice cream in a sort of conical waffle. So Louis Wells Fair, two different food groups coming together. So, when you have meditation and IT, where's that going to go? Who knows? But you put them together, mix them up, and see what happens next. That's called innovation. So that's why I like going to some of these interesting but the one I went to was more Buddhist, just last, was it just October or September or sometime, was working with the big Buddhist groups in Korea to try and move forward, work on the wonderful effect of Donald Trump falling in love with Kim Jong-un. That's what he said. They fell in love. But anyway, so the Jogje order over in Korea, they wanted to do a peace event. So meditation, peace. And so we had 6,000 South Korean meditators in a day. They have a peace park just next to the demilitarized zone. And many of you know Ajahn Ganha, he was there. And then part of that was actually I'll say a bit more about this in a moment, but part of that was having a peace walk within the demilitarized zone. You can't just walk into the DMZ. There's still mines and snipers and all sorts of nasty things in the DMZ. So you had to get permission, because one of the supporters of the Jogje order, she was, I think, number 2 in the government. But anyway, so she gave us permission. 6,000 South Koreans. And I was the only, of those senior meditation monks, the only fit one. Now you may think, oh, Ajahn Brahm, you're not really fit. You should have seen me. 3 hours walk, really fast. 6.5 kilometers of that was within the DMZ. And then to the gate, and then back from the gate back to the peace park afterwards. So Ajahn Brahm, striding really fast. Maybe it was because maybe I was scared that I was going so fast with DMZ. No, but I think I told Victor that unfortunately this was like DMZ, the demilitarized zone between the two Koreas. 6,000 of us were going in there, inside. There was shooting. And I was shot. I was shot many times. Camera, yes. Click, click, another shot, another shot. I was shot many times. But it was the sort of thing which, it builds up a tiny bit extra, to help, just confidence building, good energy. That's just one of the reasons why you do those things. So you give those nice talks in many different places. So I like doing things like that, which are a little bit different. But at the same time, to spread the message about peace. How can you get peace in this world? Not just when we're fighting our friends, but when we're fighting our mind. Come on, sit up straight. Come on, watch your breath. Do you really think that that's going to work in meditation? You can get so far where, just like in some countries, that people are afraid to say anything or do anything. They're being watched. There's mindfulness CCTV cameras all over the place. But still they're so tense. There's no sense of real freedom there at all. So that's the same in your mind. You may be mindful, but it's just like, being constantly surveyed, under surveillance. Does that give rise to peace and wisdom? So after a while, we just learn how not just to be mindful, to be kind as well. It's what I call that kindfulness. And the kindness for such a long time, as the Buddha, I knew all these monks were really kind. Ajahn Chah could be so incredibly kind. Even some of the fiercest of monks, the toughest of monks which I ever came across, was Ajahn Mahabua. And I went to go and stay with him for quite a few days. When I was staying with him, I was sweeping the paths, as that's the usual job of monks, forest monks, every afternoon to sweep. The reason we sweep those paths is that when you sort of sweep them from the leaves and twigs which fall all the time, it means the paths are clear, they're like white ribbons through the jungle, and especially at night time or early morning. Then you can actually spot a snake on the path, so you don't step on it. Now, if there were so many leaves and twigs on there, you wouldn't know what is a snake and what is a twig. So it's dangerous. So we'd always do that. That's one of our main jobs. And I was sweeping the path, and round the corner came Ajahn Mahabua, and he came up to me and said, "You're sweeping the path the wrong way. Instead of sweeping it away on the side, that means you get little furrows and little depressions in the middle of the path, and that means that the water will actually keep coming up there. So take it from the edges, sweep it to the center, even though there's leaves in the center, and take it from the center and then put it in the forest. That way the paths aren't sort of have depressions in them. They're actually like a road. It has they call it a camber, so the highest point is in the center." And he said that with such kindness and softness. He didn't say, "You stupid monk, don't you know how to do a path these days? You're a disciple of Ajahn Chah, didn't he teach you how to sweep the paths, you stupid Western monk?" He never said anything like that. He was just so kind. And so after that, you just wanted to do whatever he said. If he'd have shouted at me, I'd, "Oh, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, do that." And when he'd gone round the corner, I'd just done it the usual way. That's what happens with fear. With fear, you only follow orders when you're being watched. And one of the other monks, again one of my favourite monks, was this monk called Ajahn Tate. I don't know if any of you have met him. If you have, you're so lucky. He was in Hin Mak Peng on the borders of the Mekong River. And he had a great reputation. He had terminal cancer when I first went to Thailand. Best care, sponsored by His Majesty the King of Thailand. And after a while, the doctor said, "Nothing more we can do. So, prepare yourself to die." So he said, "Well, if I'm going to die, I might as well die in my monastery instead of in Bangkok." So he got on a train, I think, took him to his monastery over in Bangkok, over in the banks of the Mekong River. And I think it was another 20, 25 years before he died. He did go back to his monastery to die, it just took a bit longer than the doctors expected. He was a wonderful monk. But anyway, because he was a great monk, you always wanted to ask questions of really great monks. So I travelled all that way. Even I had to make an appointment, because lots of other people wanted to see him. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and eventually my time came. And just like many of you have this whole list of questions. You don't get to see great monks like that every day, so make sure I best use my time. Really important questions, not silly questions, but really deep questions. And then when I went into his room, I saw this really tiny old monk just sitting on a chair looking over the Mekong River. And he looked at me, and all my questions vanished. Questions were just obliterated. They evaporated. Such kindness. such peace. There was no questions to ask. All questions, trying to change things, trying to get some wisdom, understanding, instead of just being at peace with yourself. It's one of the times when I didn't need to improve. I had lots of stupid things which I was up to, and silly sort of attitudes, and you could very easily just be better trained. But he said, no, you're good enough. So much love, so much acceptance, opened the door of the heart to me, and there was no imperfections. All the things which I thought imperfections, that's fine. You were really 100% accepted, loved, embraced, and you never needed to improve. So all the wanting to be something different than I was, all of the ill will, trying to be embarrassed by my stupid jokes and other stuff, all of the striving just vanished there. It felt so wonderful, at peace, loved, no need to be anything different. And that, of course, was the greatest teaching. And at that point, I never wanted to ask any questions. I just wanted to stay there. Just hang out. Forever. But my time, come and get out. Somebody else wants to come in. But it really it was a wonderful experience of how questions are answered. Sometimes, all the questions in the box, wherever the box has gone. After a while, you're so peaceful and calm, you don't need any more questions. So we do this, just a bit of entertainment in the evening. But those are sorts of experiences where I realized just how powerful kindness is. And I thought, why is it that some teachers can be so unkind and so sort of critical and fault-finding? Because if you're fault-finding on others, as I said, if you don't give others the benefit of the doubt, you won't give yourself the benefit of the doubt. You'll always be so critical about yourself. I'm hopeless, I'm not a real meditator, I come here, but I sort of get meditation, it's probably just imagining it, it's not probably real, I'm just a fake, I'm awful, I'm terrible, Too many fault findings. You are good enough. And it's a wonderful thing when you start doing the good enough meditation. When you're meditating, is this good enough? 3 days to go. Is it 3 days? 3 days, 4 days? 4 days. 4 days to go. Only got 4 days to go. Come on, get into it. Oh, come on. Just, you never get anywhere when you strive like that. You just get so tense and rushing around and, in your mind. It's good enough. You've had, how many days so far we've had? 4 or 5 days? 5 days and 4 days to go. Well, look, come on, get real. If you haven't got enlightened yet, you're not going to get enlightened at all. So just give up and just relax. How many retreats have you done? So many, you haven't got jhanas yet? Oh, come on, no hope. No hope for you. But what happens then? You actually let go. You stop expecting. You stop striving. You stop wanting. You just sit there to kill time. Nimittas, beautiful nimittas, amazing nimittas, blinding nimittas, jhanas, enlightenment, it all comes to you when you stop chasing things. It's kindness. Kindness, kindness, compassion, compassion. Sometimes I thought that as a lay Buddhist, that was one of the things which somehow or other I really caught on to. Buddhism is compassionate, kind. But then in the practice, people are sort of kind, in their daily life. Maybe not in business. But I know outside of business they're very kind. And certainly not in meditation. Somehow or other Buddhists are just not kind when they meditate. Be quiet. Don't move. I'm meditating. Don't slam the doors. I need my sleep. I've got to meditate tomorrow morning at 3 o'clock. Where's the kindness? So somebody's in your room and they snore. Ah, poor thing. If you get up and just tuck them in, you must be cold. Have a nice. So sacrifice your own sleep. It's a kindness for others. And if you go up to for the food, and it's the last piece of your favourite dish, and the person in front of you gets it first, and there's nothing left for you. It makes me so happy that you get it, and I give it to you. I'm so compassionate and kind. Please, you have it. That's real compassion. No, I need this. So when it's real compassion and kindness, that was something which always inspired me in Buddhism. But sometimes in meditation retreats you don't see it. People shout at you and they tell you, sit up straight. Even though it's really torturing your body, you can't go until the bell rings. Sometimes that a meditator in some retreats, they have grounds to complain to the Human Rights Commission for being tortured. You're only allowed 2 meals a day. You can't eat in the evening. That's torture to begin with. You have to sit still for many hours. What's that? Prolonged stress positions. That's what they do in Guantanamo Bay. But when you add the kindness into the meditation, it takes off. A little bit of kindness, encouragement, gentleness, being kind to your body, understanding her. How does it work, your body? And when you get used to your body, you're kind to it. You notice how it works, when to rest, when to eat, how much to sit meditation, when to do walking meditation, when just to go outside and just have a walk, on the observation platform, just to get some fresh air. Whatever it is, just to get yourself alive again and feeling good. It's so important. Because if you're kind to your body, then the next thing, being kind to your mind. Oh, Ajahn Brahm, you stupid monk, saying the same old stories all over again. I say, oh, never mind, I forgive you. I'm getting old. There's only so many stories which I know. I've only lived 808 months. So you actually are at ease and at peace with your mind. When you're at ease and peace with your mind's at ease and at peace with you. You don't have any conflict with your meditation practice. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're trying to reconcile your practice with this moment. You're being here, making peace. At this point, I wanted to introduce, if I haven't all done already, I'll introduce this, I think, at a couple of interviews, of the Emperor's 3 questions, way to enlightenment. The meditation on the Emperor's 3 questions. It's not Anapana, it's not Satipatthana, it's yet another one you can do. So, I think you may all know the Emperor's 3 questions story. It was one which impressed me so much when I was a student, because I read the short stories by Leo Tolstoy. And it was, I think, Thich Nhat Hanh sort of also wrote about it later on. But the original was from Leo Tolstoy. Emperor's 3 questions. It was an old Russian folk story about an emperor who just really was so upset with all the different religions and all the different types of religions saying they were the best. Vipassana is the only way. No, you have to do jhanas. No, just chant Amitabha. Just do chanting. No, you have to do this. No, you have to do that. Always arguing with one another. So he thought, I'm an emperor. I can make my own religion. So he wanted to make up his own religion. So how do you start? So he wanted something which was spiritual, like something which answered many of the questions of life, but also practical. Like many have asked, how can we use these teachings in our daily life? Please don't say in the real world, because you think, when you're in the air-conditioned offices, wearing makeup, dyeing on your hair, maybe things inside here to make them look bigger. Deodorants, scents. Is that the real world? It's a made-up. I do not use hair dye. Monks, we don't use deodorants. As we are, that's how you smell us. And so people have often said to me, well, what about you, use a sort of like a girdle or something so you look much thinner. Of course you don't do stuff like that as a monk. This is real. But anyway, you've asked the questions, what do I do when I go back, to work, to family and stuff like that? So the emperor wanted something which he could actually use in his daily life. So that's when eventually that he decided the only philosophy you need was the answer to the three questions. The main three questions. When is the most important time? Who is the most important person? And what is the most important thing to do? The when, the who, and the what. So it is a very wonderful story because the emperor found those answers, but not where he expected to find them. It's just an encounter with a young boy. But he knew the answers then. When is the most important time? Now, thanks to Eckhart Tolle, everybody knows that now is the most important time. It's the only time you have, right now. So when are you going to get enlightened? Now. It's the only time there is. So if you think you can get enlightened tomorrow, or this evening, or the last day, forget it. There's only one time you get enlightened, right now. He. Who is the most important person? And that was a wonderful answer. The one right in front of you. So just because an Ajahn sitting on a big seat in front of everybody doesn't make me the most important person. When you go outside and you see one of the fellow meditators, is obviously just wondering where the water is or something, they become much more important than anybody. They're right in front of you. So always be with the person right in front of you. Give them importance. At work, at home, you may have a little kid that's missed you so much because you've been on retreat. They come running up to you, Mummy, how are you? I'm busy, darling, I've just got to get... No, don't do that. They're right in front of you. They're important. Make them feel important. And if you make them feel important, that's all they need. I did mention this little story in the BGF talk about the kid at school. They had to write a little story, a little essay, what they want to be when they grow up. And this little kid, 7 or 8 years of age, he wrote that when I grow up, I want to be an iPhone. I said, why? Well, when I'm talking to my mummy, she will ignore me to answer her iPhone. Daddy tells me not to talk while I'm eating at dinner, but when his iPhone rings, he will stop and talk to the iPhone. In fact, my mummy and daddy spend so much time with their iPhone, much more than they spend with me. I think they must love their iPhones much more than their kid. So when I grow up, I want to be an iPhone so that I get more love and time with my parents. It's brilliant, isn't it? You understand that? So, the one in front of you, most important person in the whole world. So what does that mean with meditation? People keep asking, this happens in meditation, what should I do? What should I pay attention to? The nimitta, or the breath, or the body, or I'm wandering all over the place? Should I stop that and bring the attention back to somewhere else? What is the most important meditation object in the world? The one right in front of you now. Whatever that is. That is the most important meditation object. Don't think, well, this is not nimitta, this is not the breath, it can't be worth anything. That's just like your little kid, I can see him any time. And some important gentleman is just coming to visit you, the Dalai Lama is visiting your house. Wow, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that's really important, get out of the way, kid. No, the kid is more important. If it's right in front of you, doesn't matter who they are, they're the most important person in the whole world. The meditation object you're right with right now. Tiredness, dullness, some stupid thought. It's not stupid thought. Somehow or other, that thought has come to teach you something. And if you think, it's not important, it will keep coming back again until you've listened to it and learned what you need to learn. So that's why you're tired. You're fed up. Fed up is right in front of you. That's why you need to learn from that. So don't chase it away. Listen to it. Be with it. You're depressed. You're in pain. You got pain. It's really nasty having pain. But it's right in front of you. It's a very important object for you. So it's come right in front of you. Be with it. Learn from it. But what do you do with it? What's the most important thing to do? Now's the most important time. The one in front of you, most important meditation object in the world. The most important thing to do is to care. Now someone asked me, what do you mean by caring? The opposite of caring, just change one letter, becomes curing. And that introduces that story. I told it many times, but it was really powerful. The doctor, the young Sri Lankan guy whose parents were strong disciples, so he started coming to the temple when he was really tiny. I've been a person now 36 years. And so many of the people who came those first years were just little school kids in grade school. And now he's grown up, married his own kids. And very good at school, worked hard, finished university, went to medical school, became a doctor, highly qualified, but then first year when he was in the hospital, I remember him coming a Saturday lunchtime, really distressed, and came to me for some advice, and I said, what is it? He said, I need to resign. I cannot carry on being a doctor. And that quite shocked me, because he was a very good doctor, and the amount of work, exams, all that stuff you have to learn, and he's going to throw it away just like that. What happened? And that's where he told me, and you could see the pain and distress on his face. That very morning, an hour or two before, one of his patients had died. And it was unexpected. Later on, with autopsies, they found out what the reason was, but no doctor would have been able to find out the cause of that death, but he was supposed to be looking after her, and she died. And that wasn't the worst part, of feeling guilty that one of his patients had died. The worst part was he had to tell the young woman's husband. They were young, still in the full joy of loving one another, and had to tell the husband that his young wife unexpectedly had died. And you can imagine just how that just broke him in half. He never expected that. He was looking forward to so many more years together. And just to add, as they say, to twist the knife in the wound. And your two young children have no mummy anymore. And that was just so tough for him to handle. It was just, he felt so guilty, so responsible, and especially when you are the one who has to break the news. And he told me, he said, I just can never do that again. It will happen again, I'm sure, but I can't do that. It was just too painful for me to see that shock, just agony, just people's lives just falling apart in a few seconds. And so he said, that's why I have to resign. And that was when I looked at him and told him that you've misunderstood the purpose of being a doctor. If you think that your purpose is to cure people who are, you're tending and looking after, you are going to fail many times in your life. We all know that some diseases, some sicknesses, you can't cure. And even if you do cure them, it's only temporary. We all have to die one day. So you can never cure people. And if that's your main goal, you are going to fail many, many times. And you're going to feel the same pain, maybe a bit less, who knows, maybe more, many more times. And I can understand why. If that was how you think, you have to change your job. But that was not the main purpose of being a physician, or being a therapist, being a nurse, being a psychologist, any of those sorts of professions, or being an Ajahn, a monk teacher. Your job is not to cure people. Many times I've been trying to teach you, and you're so stubborn. So I can't cure you of your bad and I don't want to cure you of your bad habits. They're cute. But no, he said, your job is not to cure, but to care. If you care for your patients, you never need to fail. You can't always cure them, but you can always care for them. You never need to be a failure, as long as you make caring more important than curing. And he got it straight away. He's a very smart fellow, and he is still a doctor today. And because I really got his career back online, when one of our monks, and he was actually passing blood, in his stool. And you know what monks are like. We're just tough guys. Will go away by itself. But when he went to see his doctor, the doctor was really freaked out. You better go, and that could be bowel cancer. And he said, just go and get a specialist. So we looked at the specialist, and we thought, in the hospital system, if it was like the government system, you'd have to wait. And as soon as people said, no, we'll sponsor him, get him sort of a private. We never needed to pay anyway, because the doctor was recommended to us, who was a specialist, was the one who'd come to see me years before I went to resign, Dr. Kalanagi. And as soon as he found out it was one of my monks, no fee, fast-tracked. Fortunately, it was just an irritation. There's nothing serious there. But it's wonderful that, if it wasn't for, your teacher, Ajahn Brahm, I wouldn't be a doctor. I'd be doing something else. So, yeah, sure, please come in. So he's a carer, not a curer. And I did mention to him at the time, and it is so true, if you make caring more important than curing, you get many more people cured. If you try to cure them, sometimes you kill them. You forget about caring. And if somebody does pass away, they and all their loved ones know they've been cared for so much. It changes the whole process. So that's why caring is the most important thing in the world, not curing. So what's that got to do with meditation? Sloth and torpor, have you been trying to cure that? Your restlessness or your stupid thoughts, have you been trying to cure that? If you've been trying to cure all your mental bad habits, all your defilements, all of your hindrances, all of your blockages in meditation, if you've been trying to cure them, best of luck. I'll see you here next 2 years with the same problems. Don't try and cure them. Care for them. Ooh, that's radical. Give it some kindness. The monster in the Emperor's palace. Welcome, monster. All those silly, stupid fantasies I had, when I was going crazy. Okay, you can come in for 1 hour every afternoon. Come, I'm going to care for you. Old romantic dreams. And as soon as I cared for them, I didn't need them anymore. My mind was peaceful. My body aching, maybe tired. Put out your legs if you're really sort of tired. Point them at me. They'll be welcome. It's not being done out of disrespect. It's out of respecting the Dhamma and being kind to your body. When you feel like you need to cough during the meditation, no, I've got to cure that. If you try doing that, we have what's called volcano effect. Out of misplaced kindness, you block it up until eventually very loud. Do you understand what's going on there? So, being kind is an important part of meditation. As with life. In the real world, the fake world, the monk world, the world of the BGF, I don't care what world you're in, kindness is important, vital. So that becomes the Emperor's 3 questions, meditation. Now is the most important time. Whatever's right in front of you right now, whatever's the object of your mind, is really important. The most important. Not jhanas, but just whatever's. If it happens to be a jhana, great, that's important. But if you're right in front, whatever it is, really fed up, angry, I want to go to the toilet, can Ajahn Brahm stop now, please? Whatever's in front of your mind, that's the most important thing in the whole world. And what do you do with it? You care for it. Don't try and cure it. Care for it. Then, you get so peaceful, so still, and soon you get into wonderful states of mind. It surprises you. I strive, work so hard, I just got stressed. Now I let go, be kind. Then find, well, here we are, in deep meditation. And even me, you say, even I can do this. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, what you're experiencing. You may be really sick, lying in bed, can't sleep, really hurting, aching. What do? Present moment, that sickness, that fever, whatever it is really important. Please be with it and be kind to it. That saps it. But if you're doing it to get better, that's not being kind. That's like a trick. I'm being kind as long as you get away, as long as you leave me. When I did that, letting go, because I had this amazing pain for toothache, I said, let it go. People tried that, let it go. I said, it doesn't work. Yeah, I know what you're doing. Let it be. Why haven't you gone yet? Come on, let it be, let it be. Come on, get out of here. Let it be. That's not letting it be. That's another strategy of trying to get rid of stuff. So when you understand that, you understand the Emperor's 3 questions of meditation. You do it properly, and it's really powerful. Anytime, any place, you can do that. Now, most important time, whatever's right in front of you, in your mind, the most important thing in the whole world, and learn how to care for it. Then, whatever you are, you can always meditate. And it works, you get very peaceful. So, now we have a break for 5 or 10 minutes. It's just coming up to 10 o'clock. And then we do a guided meditation to 10:30. Okay, but not now. It's a break. You know, I can't be a hypocrite. I can't just, say, be kind, care for yourself. Say, sit down now, don't move. Forget about going to the toilet. Hold it in. No, let go. Relax.